Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Steel. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Without further ado, here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group with another exciting edition of, yes, you guessed it, The Grow Show powered by Steel. Folks, I hope you are doing well. We're in our new Steel studios here that we will be producing the Grow Show from for the years to come. Hopefully you like the enhanced experience here. Bear with me as I find my way with some new video equipment and audio equipment. I'm not really a very good tech guy, so we'll see how it goes. But today on the Grow Show, powered by Steel, we want to talk to you in the area of teamwork, and we want to talk to you about how you celebrate your team's wins. We're having a record year here at Grunder Landscaping Company. We've basically tripled the size of the business since 2020, and there's been a lot that we should be celebrating about. It's a lot of fun, and the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that we could not do this without our team. And also, admittedly, I'm not real good at celebrating. I just feel like we all have a job to do. You do your work, you get it done. You were supposed to do some of these things. I mean, how far should we go with celebrating when we had a sales goal and we hit it? But I'm learning, always learning, even at 55, always learning. It is important to celebrate your wins. So I think the question becomes, how do you do that in a mindful and reasonable manner? And that's what we want to talk to you about today on the Grow Show. I think, first of all, what is so important in celebrating wins is clarity of purpose, because if we don't have clarity of purpose with what we're doing on a daily basis, if everyone doesn't know where we're going and how we're going to get there, I think it becomes very difficult, because you're just having a party because it's like, man, I feel like we're doing pretty well. I don't know for sure. Haven't really had any fun around here. Let's take everybody to the Reds game. Let's have somebody come in and make breakfast. And there always should be some things like that. A little bit of spontaneity is good, but I think it's important to have clarity of purpose. So that goes without saying. I mean, here at Grunder, we have a very clear sales goal. We have a very clear goal that we'll talk about here in a minute in terms of what we pay performance bonuses on, but clarity of purpose has to be present. So let's assume that you have clarity of purpose, that your whole team knows what a win looks like. Years ago, a mentor of mine, Les Banwart, gave me a question that it's stuck with me now for over 20 years. And he said, a year from now, how will you know you've been successful? And I use that. Many of you watching that I've worked with, I've used that question that my friend Les gave me. But a year from now, how would you know you've been successful? Well, we're more than halfway through the season here in 2023. So what needs to happen the last few months of the year for us to be successful? What's your goal? What's your clarity of purpose? First of all, let's talk about the first way that I think is so important to reward your team, and that is the power of positive reinforcement. My partner in the Grow Group, Vince Torchia, tells everyone a story of when he got a new puppy a few years ago, and he bought like 9 books on puppy training. And he said to me one day in the office, he said, Marty, every single one of those books talks about the power of positive reinforcement and how important it is to be positive with a puppy, that you will get so much further with them by saying good dog rather than bad dog. And as he's saying this, I said, well, what's your takeaway? He's like, well, people are the same way. I'm like, yeah, it's so true. So the power of clarity, the power of positive reinforcement, Vince was right. And he's got a really nice dog because he worked with that dog with positive reinforcement. I think I have 4 nice kids that are each successful in their own right. And I think a lot of that is what my wife, more than me, did, the power of positive reinforcement. So how do we do that? Some of the ways we do that at Grunder are notes. You might get a handwritten note from myself or a manager. When you go beyond the call of duty, you're going to get that. Shoutouts. Shout out in the huddle in the morning. Shout out on the private Facebook page. Shout out in the monthly grow meeting that we do. That's a company-wide meeting. Depending on what it is, maybe it's, hey, I want to talk to you with your manager. We had a salesperson the other day that I found out, unbeknownst to us, we had a client that has a second home like 20 minutes from where his family was vacationing on in Michigan, and he needed a ride up there. And our sales professional drove our client with his family in their minivan all the way up to his house in Michigan. The only reason I found out about it was the client told me how awesome our sales professional was for doing that. Well, I called him in and I told his manager and our president, Seth, how proud I was of him for doing something like that, not telling anybody he did it. And I mentioned, you think our competition's driving their clients to their homes in Michigan? I said, I don't think so. So he smiled. He knows he did well. What was so cool was he didn't say anything to anybody, which I still can't get over. So there's that. There's reviews that we can talk about, those things. And when you do someone's reviews, if you're doing a good job in reviews, in my opinion, there better be some things they can work on. You need to go to that review armed with some good things. So positive reinforcement there. So I think the power of positive reinforcement, it can't be denied. Maybe I've given you a couple ideas of way you can do that. My favorite is probably the private Facebook page that we have that all of our team is on. When I post a picture of a job or one of the guys or the gals out working and I tell them how proud I am, look at the nice edges on the bed, look how good these flower pots look that Dawn's watering, so on and so forth, that goes a long way. The second thing is, in terms of where we celebrate, at our monthly grow meeting, which is a meeting that we have company-wide, I think it's the third Wednesday of every month, starts at 7 a.m., it's over by 8 a.m., we talk about how we're doing financially, and our company pays out on two metrics and only two metrics. And it's really easy to understand what we pay a bonus on. The first bonus is paid on the number of hours worked. Real simple. The more hours you work, the bigger your bonus. And that includes overtime. Now, we're not going to be able to answer all the questions you may have from that. Come to a field trip to understand how we do it. The second one is on-site time. So you're incentivized to not dilly-dally around in the shop. You're incentivized not to take the long way to a job. So being mindful of that, it helps a lot. And a shout out and celebration around those two metrics. Last month, we handed out a very large bonus to our team. They did a good job. We talked about it. Everybody clapped. They were excited. It made an impact. So there's that way. I think that cookouts, food trucks, it's amazing what a few $100s worth of pizzas will do. A Dragons game is the Red Single A affiliate that's here in Dayton. And on the 24th, we're taking our entire company down into the outfield where we'll do a party out there. We do things like that. There's a newly old-time renovated movie theater that's about 5 minutes from our office here. Our team doesn't know this one, but this fall we're going down there and we're going to watch the motivational movie, Remember the Titans. And there's a stage. Seth and I will come out. We'll say a little bit. We'll watch the movie. We'll give everybody popcorn, snacks, so on and so forth. Grunder's the only one in the movie theater. They'll get paid to sit through the movie. And then at the end, we'll have a short discussion on teamwork, and then we'll let them go home. They'll be done by 5. We'll probably start the movie at 3. We'll be done by 5. It'll be another way to reward, to reward what we're doing. I think, though, above all those things, the most impactful thing that we do, ladies and gentlemen, is that Seth and I are present a lot. And we model the behaviors that we want to see in our team. And I think it's an appropriate time for me to share with you one of my favorite sayings, a euphemism, if you will, something that we've come up with here. And that is the mantra that you as the leader of the organization, the owner, leader, whoever's listening here, it can be owners and leaders are listening to the Grow Show. We know that our audience has grown by leaps and bounds every episode. You got to be great at what you want your followers to be good at. Let me say that again. You got to be great at what you want your followers to be good at. So in terms of the celebration, we've got to reinforce the behaviors that we want to see present in the organization. And I think that it's important that you recognize that. Little one-on-ones on the side, talking to them, thanking them for that. Teaching a manager how they should lead their subordinates, treating them the way you want them to treat others. That becomes a very important thing. I think it's truly different here at Grunder Landscaping. I think our culture is unique. I hope you think your culture is unique as well. But I don't believe that you can be a butthead for an entire month, an entire quarter, an entire year, all of a sudden have this epiphany and say, oh my gosh, I was a jerk, and I'm going to take everybody on this elaborate deep sea fishing trip, and everything will be okay. I've said this many times. I think Undercover Boss is just the dumbest show on TV. So for the first time in the CEO's life, they're finally understanding that they got major problems in their organization, and they're going to make it right by giving you money for your kid for college, a brand new car, money to buy a house. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, folks. So we're talking about how we celebrate a wins, the power of positive reinforcement, the little things, the cookouts, all that stuff, the bonus, they matter. But I think what matters more than anything else is that you treat your people with dignity and respect. that you don't have bald tires on your truck. There's a lot of ways to celebrate making that place a great place to work. And I'm going to wrap it up with some final comments here. The best way to celebrate, without question, is to continue to work on making your place a great place to work. Right now, we are pushing very, very hard on our sales team to make more sales. And quite frankly, we need a few people to step it up. They're out trying. They got to step it up. They got to work harder. We're working with them. I'm just telling you that because I would never want anyone to leave the Grow Show and say, man, Marty Grunder is perfect. He never has any issues in his business. Everything just goes perfect. They never have an accident. They never have a problematic situation with an employee. Everything's just perfect. It's not. We need sales. And we're pushing on our people really, really hard right now. And that's part of business, okay? It can't all be ruffles and feathers. Every day cannot be a party. Every day cannot be free lunch. Every day cannot be free snacks. Every day you don't get to go home early, okay? There's a balance. We have a business. And I think what's important, folks, is that consistency is the key. Clarity of purpose, holding your team accountable, but holding your team accountable in a way that they understand, being very clear with the expectations. We'll put a very good book into the show notes on this episode. It's Henry Evans' Winning with Accountability. All of our peer groups read it. It's a wonderful little book. It's about 90 pages long. You could honestly, if you went and bought it right now, you could have it read by dinner. It's just not that big of a deal. And it's a big part of our success here. Clarity of purpose, power of positive reinforcement, small rewards along the way, a bonus and productivity system in place that incentivizes the behaviors that you want. But at the end of the day, you got to get work done, okay? So there has to be a dose of realism, and you have to be consistent on a daily basis. Listen, as we wrap this edition of The Grow Show up, powered by Steel, I'm not perfect. Our company president, Seth Flum, is not perfect. We are a work in progress. We're trying to figure out how to make our company better each and every day in a competitive environment. And I hope in a small way I helped you today and showed you some small ways that you can celebrate your wins. By all means, reach out to us on social media or drop us a note if you have a unique way of celebrating your win. And we will talk to you next week on The Grow Show. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Steel, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.